24 hours ago. GameSource Entertainment came out and finally announced their upcoming game, Yasha, Legends of the Demon Blade. Apparently the game is releasing inside 2024, highly likely October, coming to PCs, Switch, and other consoles. Yasha, for those of you who miss it, is an action RPG classic. It actually features 3 different protagonists with their own distinct abilities and over 8 different biomes. Anyway, accompanying the news, we also got this. Coming up behind that, after more than 3 years of wait and actually a failed Kickstarter, Desohunter is now finally coming to PCs as its exclusive platform with a 2024 release window. Desohunter, for those of you who didn't know about it at all, is actually a co-op physics-based action adventure that combines elements of action RPGs like Diablo, open-world games, and procedurally generated mechanics. Anyway, accompanying the window, developers released a new trailer for it too. Coming up behind that, as its developer's first work, we have something here called Duel Corp, which we mentioned this game only once over a year ago. It's another action RPG 2D 3D pixel art Souls-like, what developers promise to be a very different approach in combat. As you can see, it's a direction-based slasher that offers both a single player and a co-op multiplayer. Latest demo on Steam, Duel Corp is said to be coming out fully by the end of the year, and this is how it looks. Now, Littlelands, however, it's a first-time mentioner, though it was actually revealed November last year. Totally missed out on this bad boy. It's a top-down sandbox action-adventure and a dungeon crawler that might just be a pretty decent attempt to meet Zelda with Animal Crossing. Now, first off, it's not a farming or a social life sim game, but it actually has a pretty deep character customization and offers life sim game elements. Either way, Littlelands is coming to PCs only by the end of the year. Plucky Squire is at the moment amongst the most anticipated games of 2024. In fact, some critical websites describe this as a AAA quality work. First things first, Plucky Squire over here is a 2D 3D blend book-like platformer. It's a little bit inspired by the Paper Mario games and a bit Call of the Lamb, and it's actually being published by Devolver Digital, so it's really backed with budget. Either way, it's one of the most innovative games due this year, right now targeting PCs, Switch, and the next generation of consoles only.
Prizes and attractively furnished accommodation. Our heroes must battle Humgrump across the two realms if they are to save their beloved land from his diabolical designs. Off the page and into adventure.
Oh, that's right. Shrine's Legacy is another Kickstarter project that's developed roughly 3 years now. Thankfully, its initial goal is met on the campaign and promised a 2024 release. And that being said, Shrine's Legacy, as developers put it, is a Super Nintendo-style 2D co-op action RPG classic that supports multiplayer and couch co-op. You can actually play its demo on Steam or the campaign. The full game, however, is set to be coming out to PCs exclusively. Coming as its developer's first work, I mean technically second, but the first one was really off the radar compared to what we have here in the list, Last Moon, in case you missed it, is another Metroidvania action-adventure role-playing game I'd like to think is one of the smoothest games in the making that we've come across lately. It's a pixel art style, but pretty much looks like an anime. However, all we know is the game is coming to PCs rather soon. Number 8 actually just hit all of its Kickstarter campaign goals over here, already promising a December release on PCs and Switch. We've got an action-adventure hybrid going by the name Kloa, Child of the Forest. Now, Kloa is definitely inspired by The Legend of Zelda and Studio Ghibli works, with handcrafted pixel arts, classic retro and arcade games. So far promising a PC and Switch release only, and in case we actually got a new trailer for this one too. Definitely one of my favorite pixel art games dropping in 2024. Number 8, we have Outrider Mako. It's a top-down 2D action-adventure classic with modern elements, such as this very unique mechanic where you can actually jump on top of your enemies and slam them up with your goo thing. It's definitely a neck and a head above the rest of the games in the list, considering its graphics, action, and also the variety of elements. Either way, Outrider Mako is coming to PCs only soon. If you're already familiar with the games such as Beholder and the Necrosmith series, you might also want to know Kingsgrave is their new work. It's an RPG adventure classic, obviously inspired by Zelda, whereas the more you venture, the smarter you get, solving puzzles along the way as you follow the story and picking up skills and powers to deal with bigger enemies. Kingsgrave is coming out later today. The girl from Arkanya, on the other hand, a near 3-year-old revealed project, now finally has a release window of late 2024 on Switch, PCs and past generation of consoles as well. It's a role-playing adventure featuring dungeon crawling, puzzle solving, and a leveling system for longer replay. There's a demo available for the game on itch for the players to test it out. We actually just got a new trailer for it too.
It's our turn!
I'm not afraid of you!
Stand aside.
Don't worry, Brew. We'll find Ari. Hiya, Brew.
Hiya, mate.
Moving on to number 12, we have Vessels of Decay. Vessels of Decay first was announced April 2 years ago. Ever since it's gone to a development hell, now finally back on track for a final release on PCs by the end of the year. Now, you can see it's a retro-inspired action-adventure, what developers describe to be strongly focused on combat and player autonomy. The game is also set in a post-apocalyptic-ish Scandinavia aesthetic, definitely inspired by the Zelda franchise. Sitting through a Kickstarter campaign for almost 2 years now since reveal, we've got the game Spindle, which is, I think, one of the most bizarre games we've ever mentioned on the channel, and a fully actually funded Kickstarter campaign too, so hopefully it'll hit Steam in the following months. Either way, the story over here is about a little tiny protagonist that wakes up one day and realizes it's actually Grim Reaper himself. That, and just a little piglet that tells him where to go and what to do. Pretty much the same deal over here on a Kickstarter campaign for almost 2 years now, in case you missed it. Fountains is now coming to PCs exclusively on December this year. Developers published a free demo for it on Steam. Fountains is a action RPG Souls-inspired puzzler. You're probably familiar with the style if you played games such as Hyper Light Drifter, except it has like a heavier emphasis on story. Moving on to number 15, we have Aethyr. Aethyr is an open-world action-adventure. This game's set in a world ruined by an arcane apocalypse. Well, developers described it that way, and it's also inspired by the golden age of RPGs. But, well, if we're being specific, Zelda, A Link to the Past, maybe a little bit of Between Two Worlds as well. Anyway, Aethyr is an RPG with a fast-paced combat, now on its way to PCs, possibly in the next few. You might as well just hop on Steam to give this one a go too if you like what you see. The full game is coming out to Switch and other platforms as well late 2024, developers announced. Elementallis here is a top-down action skill-based adventure, pretty fairly inspired by the Chrono series of games and a little bit of Final Fantasy, where you have to restore balance on Earth. Well, Elementallis is actually touted as a Metroidvania, story-driven game in nature with only real-time combat. A few months ago, Yacht Club Games, same developers of the Shovel Knight games, came up with a Kickstarter on an adventure game, brand new, called Mina the Hollower. Now, what was then described as an action adventure with a classic gameplay and an 8-bit aesthetic in the same style of the Game Boy Color games, just refined with modern elements. Either way, this game actually reached triple its initial goal on the Kickstarter and set to be released by the end of the year, and we actually just got a new trailer for this one as well. And last but not least, we have one of the oldest games we've had on our radar since early 2022, Moonshell Island. In case you just missed it, it's another open world deck building game with over 100 different islands to explore. It's basically what they're selling. Whereas you're going to be looking all around the place for Easter eggs, but more than anything, you have to craft, alchemy, and develop as you go. This game is finally coming out to PCs and Switch only late 2024, and here's another trailer.